Ahí estamos ya. Ya estamos conectados. So, vamos a probar todo. Vamos a dejar que la gente se comiencen a conectar conmigo. Ya estamos aquí déjame ver. Perfect. Bueno, quería darle la bienvenida a todos. Voy a estar, me dicen, Cintia, ¿me puedes avisar? Porque acuérdate que estoy entre el Instagram y por aquí abajo estoy en YouTube, en Facebook y en LinkedIn. So, quería darle la bienvenida a todos que en esta noche han tomado de su noche para conectarse conmigo. Muy importante, miren lo que es la costumbre. ¿En qué idioma vamos a hablar esta noche? En inglés. Okay? So this live tonight, as you can see, I'm used to doing the lives, believe it or not, in Spanish. And I got a little used to that. So I started everything off in Spanish. I keep getting a request for somebody to join my live, but I don't have any guests tonight, and I won't be inviting anybody on the live with me. The live tonight is specifically, okay, I think I've spoken a little bit about this in my lives, in my prior lives. We are discussing my book. Excellent. We are discussing my book. What book? It says Best-Selling Options in a Divorce. Okay. So what is all of this about? Why have I chosen to go down this avenue specifically? I will give you a little background story because I did not have the opportunity to share this with everybody in English. So I wanted to share it with everybody now. Perfect. I see everybody's joining. Takes a little while. Cynthia, tenme presente porque acuérdate que estoy entre que miro para acá, para lo de Instagram, para ajustar un poquito las cosas. No sé si voy a estar mejor bajarme un poquito. So en Instagram yo siento que estoy bien, pero la que más me cuesta es la de Facebook. Bueno, just bear with us as we get used to all the things that we have to do while we are live. Okay. First of all, those who do not know me in some of these platforms, I'm pretty new. This is my first live on LinkedIn and my first live on YouTube. I'm used to going live on Instagram and Facebook. However, I do most of my lives on Instagram. So we finally found the tools and the technology so that we could do all of this at the same time, hopefully reach more people with the information that I feel I need to share and based on my experience. Well, first and foremost, my name is Catherine Vicioso. I am a broker associate with Coldwell Banker. I have been a broker associate since 2008. So yes, I have 15 years of experience in the industry. So just to let you know a little bit about me, okay, before you assume that I'm pro-divorce because I'm talking about this book that I have, no, I'm actually pro-marriage. However, I understand that sometimes you have to make some very difficult decisions that work out in the best interest of all parties involved. And sometimes divorce, though I don't believe it should be the first recourse for anybody, it is one of the options when things are not working out in a relationship. I happen to have underneath my belt 25 years. I was married for 25 years. I was separated for about 4, and I have 1 year since my divorce became final. So yes, I have a little bit of experience, okay, in the marriage world, which I am an advocate of marriage. However, if this is something that you are entertaining, when I mean that, I mean divorce, there are quite a few things that definitely you need to consider. Not that those are the reasons for you to decide whether or not to get divorced. That's a decision on its own that you have to make for yourself and your family. However, my position here is to share with you how to divorce with grace. Okay. Every situation is definitely different, and every situation will have its challenges. I happen to, while I was on the subject, I ran into this little beauty, the Divorce Project Planner, which I have shared on my feed, and I will be sharing in my other platforms soon enough, so that you can follow her. She's wonderful. Okay. And I happen to enjoy her material. We will be sharing some information regarding that. It gives you a roadmap. You have to, if you've already decided to go down this road, I would suggest that you treat this like a project. Okay. On its own, divorce not easy. Okay. It could be an amicable divorce. It could be a divorce full of conflict. Only your individual situation will decide what that is and your position and how you handle this. So I believe in trying to do a roadmap, a plan. But tonight's conversation is specifically around the subject of a quit claim deed. Those of us, those in the audience, those on my platforms that own property, that you have your home and you're basically deciding. I actually have an appointment tomorrow with somebody that's in this scenario. I'll give a little feedback on that later today. However, I want you to keep in mind, and I've have shared this on a lot of my platforms, that I do not believe, even though that seems to be the path of least resistance, a lot of people go down the road of doing a quick claim deed. Okay. What is a quitclaim deed? It's basically a type of a deed, and I'll read it verbatim. Okay. It is what gives the deed that gives one party the sole ownership of the property. So if two people own the property, one of the parties in this divorce, somehow both of you or through the advice of somebody decide to quit claim deed the property to the person, perhaps the wife that is staying with the children in the home. However, that has its own set of setbacks, and I'm going to explain why. There's a lot of different options, or quite a few, not a whole lot, but quite a few options when you're entertaining a divorce. So, quick claim deed might be the first one that people mention, but it might not be the best. I want to explain why. Specifically, that's going to be the subject tonight. Somebody called me. It was a friend of a friend, and we were in the process of trying. He's already divorced. He's been divorced for a little over 5 years. He's decided now to try to buy a property with his new partner. Nevertheless, I go through my series of questions. And what is one of the questions I ask? Because we have some of these products right now, Hometown Heroes. You get a lot of different products that come on the market all of the time. And what do most of the people want? They want to be able to use first time home buyer credits and first time home buyer programs. What do you have to have, or what qualifications, what qualifies you as a first time homeowner? You have to have not owned a home in the past 3 years, not in a lifetime. You're considered a first time homeowner, okay, if you have not owned a property in the last 3 years. So this individual in particular, a client, we will be buying a home, but not right now. We find out, I said, have you owned a home in the past 3 years? Oh, I did, but I don't own it anymore. Okay, tell me a little bit about that. What happens? He got divorced, and in his divorce, he quit claim deeded the property to the ex-wife. Okay, so did you refinance that? How did you give her ownership of the property? Quit claim deed. Okay, did you do anything else later on which removed you from the mortgage? Understand, deed, ownership, mortgage, you are financially responsible for the loan, for the finances. So a quit claim deed does not exempt you from the mortgage. So he did not go back and My phone is dying. Okay. Um, Cintia, help. Necesito que vengas. Se me está muriendo el teléfono y no tengo el cargador conmigo. Okay, so let's get back to the subject at hand. So what happens? He realizes now, we look through the documentation, we look on his credit report, lo and behold, the mortgage continues to report on his credit. However, the mediation agreement has that the wife is responsible for the payment. But my dears, the mortgage is still under his name. The mortgage is still being reported as his. So what now? He can no longer be considered as a first-time home buyer. He owns a home, gets a little stickier. He didn't realize or he forgot that the property, they also had a line of credit on the home, which the wife is responsible for as well. And my idea was to actually have the attorney here with us. We have not been able to connect, and I wanted to get, and that's definitely something that we will be talking about. Once you find yourself in this pickle where the property, okay, is still under your name, however, the mediation agreement says the other partner is responsible for it financially, making the payments, and at some point in time, they stop making those payments. So what did we discover? She has not stopped making payments on the mortgage. However, she did stop making payments on the line of credit. What did that do to my poor client? It has ruined his credit. They don't really have a whole lot of contact. So that gets a little sticky. Now we're going to have to go back and find out in the mediation agreement what happened, what recourse does he have. But in the meantime, while the things come and go, he cannot buy. So now he can't take advantage of the hometown heroes. He can't be considered a first-time home buyer. Again, he had no idea. He thought that by quitclaim deeding the property to his previous spouse, he was no longer responsible for anything. However, that is not the case. That might be the easy way out. That might sound great at the moment, but it has a set of consequences down the road. It makes sense. One of the spouse that stays with the children, divorce is already, taxing as it is, emotionally, financially. Why bring the kids into this and let's have them continue living in the home for an extended period of time? However, there are other things that we can set in place to avoid from this being a problem down the road. A lot of times she didn't mean to pay it late for whatever reason. Financially, she's not in a place where she can afford it. However, if you don't have the type of divorce that you have an open type of communication, and you're going to be able to reach out to the other party and let them know, hey, I'm not able to make the mortgage and I'm not able to make these payments. What can we do? If you run that risk by not having the open channels of communication, not being able to reach out, you really not understanding that you are still responsible for that mortgage, even though you did that quitclaim deed. There's too many things that are unknown. And the team of people that are around you, whether a realtor, a therapist, an attorney, friends and family, and a coach, there's a team of people that walk with you through this scenario. So you really need to ensure that you have the right people with you that are looking out for your best interest for all parties, because this is not isolated. This affects everybody. So there's a lot to do before you make these decisions. And there are people that are experts on the subject that can actually help you navigate these waters better. So where are we with this individual in particular? We're going to have to look into what can we do. Hi, baby. One of my babies tuned in. So, what can you do now that you're already in this pickle? We will be talking to the attorney, looking at the mediation agreement. It's going to cost him some money, which, if done up front, it wouldn't have cost him this money. Now, had he opened at some point in time the channels of communication, he might have to reach out to the ex-spouse, have some uncomfortable conversations, because now he can't be considered a first-time homeowner, home buyer. He cannot get some of these programs that will help him, and it is affecting his credit. So even though the other spouse is responsible financially, so it has a lot of moving parts. If during a divorce, a lot of these loose ends are not addressed and are not done properly, not just seeing things in the light of the now, but projecting yourself out 1 year, 3 years, 5 years out, that in fact you will probably be in another relationship. Or even if you're not, if you want to buy something on your own, you still have a mortgage under your name. So my client tomorrow, very important, this is something that we will discuss, some of the options. You quit claim deed it with street signs and alerts and little guidance and checkpoints of maybe a certain length of time. Maybe within this time period you have to refinance, allowing the other individual to get back on their feet. First and foremost, when it comes to the property, you have to see if going forward the spouse that's staying with the property is going to be able to make those payments, whether it be the payments the way they are now, the line of credit, and the entire financial picture moving forward alone. Are you going to be able to handle that financial responsibility? If you do the numbers, which is a very important part of the roadmap of the divorce planner, of the book, is being informed of your options, sitting down and doing your numbers with somebody who knows, with a financial planner, with a realtor. Okay. With a realtor that's a coach. I'm a coach. So I'm not looking at it, oh, I want to sell your house, or I'm trying to make money. Everybody is. However, you need to make sure we're looking at it from the perspective of what's in your best interest and your family, not just now, but down the road. So we have to get organized. We have to know the numbers so that we can see if a quick claim deed is what's best for everybody. If maybe refinancing and paying and buying out the other party, giving them their portion of the equity, you can do that. But again, it's a numbers game. If you refinance and you take out the money, if you owe 200,000, you're taking 100 to pay out and buy out your spouse. Are you going to be able to pay that mortgage? Okay. So with the realtor, with your attorney, there's a lot to explore. Or is it in everybody's best interest to sell the home? Everybody takes on the benefits of starting fresh, no baggage from that perspective. Buy something that you own alone, the mortgage and the deed and everything is just you, the new person that is responsible, and everybody goes their separate ways with their individual money and at peace. And we're not having these conversations a year or 2 or 3 years down the road again. So you have to see where you find yourself. You have to plan, treat this like a project. You have to get all of this on paper, do the numbers, okay? Do a realistic budget, a budget now, and a budget for later when you are the sole breadwinner of this home, or if in fact you're pursuing alimony, if in fact you are pursuing child support. Is this new financial picture going to be enough to give you a comfortable lifestyle, a lifestyle that you can support, okay? And it's not affecting the credit of the spouse that's no longer in the picture or yours, okay? So there's a lot to think about. This is why, to me, just doing a quick claim deed is not a good idea. Um, there's a lot of things in place. It might make sense at that moment, but long term, it might not make sense because you're talking about an agreement, if done properly, that if you remain on the mortgage, you are going to have to revisit this at some point in time. Okay? Because you do want, if you're not living in the home and if you have plans later on to try to buy something, okay, you need to find a way to get yourself off of that mortgage, if that makes sense. So, if anybody has any questions for me, feel free to ask. The next couple of weeks, we will be addressing a lot of topics regarding my book. Okay, we will be discussing a lot of subjects regarding that subject. We will be addressing any concerns, any questions. We're going to be having attorneys with us. We're going to be having financial planners with us. I want a therapist with us. Everybody that in this project and in this planner, I'm telling you, is important for you to have as part of your team if you are going to pursue a divorce. I will have here with me so that you can ask whatever questions you might have. And these are people that are part of my team, people that I trust, people that I have worked with for a while now. And if I refer you to them, it is definitely people I trust. So I want to go ahead, and if anybody has any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to respond. If anybody doesn't feel comfortable asking me questions here because the subject is a very sensitive subject, feel free to send me a message, a private message, and I will be more than happy to respond to you individually. We can set up a private meeting via on the phone, via Zoom, in person. I have 3 offices. I have one in Weston, one in Pembroke Pines, and one in Davie. So whichever one is closest to you, obviously we can accommodate. And probably the beginning of the year, we might have one in Miami-Dade. So I am here to assist you. Remember, I'm a broker associate with Coldwell Bankers. I am here to help you through anything with renting, selling your home, buying an investment, and whether you want to buy something here in the United States, particularly in Florida, or if you want to buy something in another country, specifically Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. So again, I am here to serve. I'm happy to have been able to be on all of these platforms today, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 7. So you have a good evening, and I look forward to connecting with you.